Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga, Matchday 24. What a title race. We have three teams in 2 points. Perhaps now the big favorite is Barcelona after the draw in the derby because Flick's men are the ones playing the best football in this La Liga, Alvaro.
Well, let's see how it goes. There are many fluctuations in this La Liga. Just to give you an example, Real Madrid is topping it. They got 50 points, but under Ancelotti, they never had so little points at this stage of the season. So no one has been perfect. There are three teams who are clearly, going through a good moment. Most likely, all of them are going to be in the last 16 round of the Champions League because Real Madrid did win against Manchester City at Manchester City ground last night. But yes, I think that the top three is interesting. It's going to be quite a nice race. I don't forget about Athletic Bilbao. They will never fight for the title, I think, but they are 6 points away from the leaders. And generally speaking, Rayo Vallecano is still winning games. Rayo Vallecano is still in European positions too. So, the league is quite interesting. For me, it's very clear this season that there is the top 10 is much better than the bottom 10. In the bottom 10, I can see teams suffering a lot, with the exception of Getafe, who are probably enjoying one of the best runs I remember from them lately in 2025. But yes, there is plenty to say and plenty of games, 10 very interesting ones, most of them. And, I think that on the horizon, we have a very good Barcelona Rayo Vallecano as well on Monday, which should be very entertaining because both sides love attacking football too.
Well, on paper, the toughest game is for Real Madrid, but we will analyze everything in this show. So, guys, remember, of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. Friday game is Girona Getafe. You said it. Getafe are enjoying a great run right now. They are 5 points away from relegation. No defeats in the last 5, and they won the last 3 away games. Last one against Alavés, a direct clash, very important game for Bordalas. Girona, on the other hand, falling even without Champions League. Lost to Athletic, 3 defeats in the last 4 for Girona, but still super favorite for this game.
Yeah, I don't see it that way. However, this is such a clash of styles that anything can happen. I have the feeling that Getafe is going to try to stop Girona as much as they can. Girona are going to attack, they're going to take the initiative. Then we know that Girona can be wasteful, then they don't have the quality they had last season just to play the passing football they did. But still, Girona is going to take the initiative, that's for sure. And Getafe won't. And Getafe knows how not to take the initiative. Look, for example, last weekend when Getafe got their win at Alavés ground and Real Madrid and Atletico played, right? So Real Madrid and Atletico, that game, had 18 more minutes of playing time than Alavés Getafe. So when Getafe wants it, the game gets like this, with plenty of interruptions. It's a different game. And I think Getafe will try to apply the same medicine with Girona this time, because they are a team that know how to do it, because they are a team that know that the less that happens on the pitch, the better for them. And we're talking at the end of the day about the team that has conceded only 17 goals. This is the joint second best in the Big 5 leagues. So the best defensive numbers in the Big 5 leagues so far are Atletico's ones. All right? Well, the second best are Getafe's and Napoli's. So that tells you about the quality of this team, at least in the defensive department. They have conceded only 2 goals in 5 league games in 2025. And I know that Girona has signed 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, a player that I don't particularly rate, but still he will improve the quality midfield. I know that Girona will have the initiative, but they are finding it very difficult to win games, Girona, this season. So for me, my bet, considering how good Getafe is right now, this won't be forever, obviously, but I think Getafe can still be competitive at Montilivi. So I'm going to go for an Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Girona, for Getafe in the first half. That pays 176, meaning that if they draw the first half, you get half a win. But if they win the first half, you win it.
You remember this dodgy swap with Pjanic, Artur Melo Pjanic, that was investigated
I have forgotten.
By the Italian justice, actually, because it looks like they were laundering some money. Both clubs was really, really dodgy, but in Spain, no one investigated this transaction. It was in Italy. Next game, key game for the relegation, Leganés Alavés, both suffer really bad defeats against direct rivals in the previous weekend. Leganés against Valencia in Mestalla. If they lose, they will drop to the bottom three after so many weeks. And Alavés, penultimate in the standings now. Only one win in the last 11 was against Betis. I'm not sure if sacking the manager was a good idea, as we said long time ago.
Yeah, because Luis Garcia Plaza have the know-how, and I think that he should have stayed at Alavés. It was, in my opinion, a sudden move that the board did, and it wasn't the best one. Ever since Luis Garcia was sacked, the numbers of Alavés have been pretty poor, but Leganés is going through a rough patch as well. Leganés had a good period in mid-December, the start of the year, more or less, but their form right now is not good either. I mean, we're talking about two sides that are separated only by 2 points. Alavés is in relegation, Leganés is not, but Leganés is 17th. When it comes to the numbers, they are pretty similar, not too dissimilar, I would say. And at the end of the day, this game is a game between the second worst team at home, which is Leganés. Leganés cannot make it at home. They have been really poor. The point collection in the ground is the second worst in La Liga. And Alavés, away from home, is less than formidable, that's for sure. So coming into this game, look, for me, this game is going to be one of the tight ones as well. That's unquestionable. I don't think that none of them will separate themselves in the scoreline very quickly, very fast, and very remarkably. The draw pays 310, which is about the normal price in this kind of games. I'm going to back Leganés somehow, because I'm taking into account the home factor, who plays as the local team, and Leganés, I know that at home they haven't been great this season, but against Alavés, probably they know that they need to get at least 1 point. So I'm going to go for an ace and handicap plus 0.25 for Leganés. That pays 170. And, as I said before with Getafe, if you go for these odds and Leganés wins this game, you win it. You win your stake, and if they draw, you get half a win, which is perfectly acceptable as well.
Only 2 goals scored for Leganés in the last 5 games. Next game is Osasuna Real Madrid. This could be a tricky trip to Pamplona. As always, it's a tough ground, although Osasuna have nothing to play for in this season. Out in Copa del Rey, comfortable in La Liga, where they've only won 1 out of the last 11 games. But remember that they thrashed Barcelona here. So warning to Real Madrid, Alvaro, defending their first spot in La Liga after taking the Etihad, great win in the Champions League, giving them a boost in the first great win of the season, because they were coming from that defeat against Espanyol, from the draw against Atlético de Madrid. So we should expect also some turnover from Ancelotti. And the second line must show that they are able to step up and play, for instance, against Man City, the likes of Brahim for sure, or Modric. I'm sure we are going to see them in this game.
Yeah, look, I think Real Madrid, it doesn't really matter whether they are playing well or not. I think that against Manchester City, they were much better than Manchester City. They created way more chances. But did those chances come as a result of a very good possession game? I don't think so. It was direct play, and this is what fits better Real Madrid right now. it was funny to see how after the 80th minute, I think Manchester City was jaded, was tired. They wanted to keep the possession to make sure that very little happened in the game. And I was thinking, look, maybe Manchester City is fine like that. But as soon as Real Madrid recovers the ball, they are going to play direct football towards Vinicius or 𝗵𝗵𝗍 because he's so tempting. At the end of the day, you have two of the most powerful and fastest strikers in the world, and they know how to do it, and this is in them. And, I think that this is the biggest threat of Real Madrid, the directness and the quality up front. It's incredible, really. With 𝗵𝗵𝗍, Vinicius and Bellingham, Real Madrid has probably, and I'm talking from my memory, 3 of the 5 players who were the top of the Ballon d'Or list. And this, is very difficult to stop. It's very difficult to stop. I know that Real Madrid have defensive issues when it comes to the personnel. Personally, I think that Asensio has done very well this season, and Tchouaméni is not such a bad centre back. Of course, with Rudiger, Real Madrid is going to be better off. Fede Valverde is a good fullback, is a good right back. The problem is that if he is playing as a right back, then the midfield comes a little bit short. Fortunately for Real Madrid, 𝗵𝗵𝗍 is back, and 𝗵𝗵𝗍 is okay physically, as I could see at the Etihad ground. But the problem with Real Madrid this season has been, to date, the fact that they didn't win the big games, but they have won one. So they have crossed a Rubicon. So maybe from this moment onwards, Real Madrid gets more confidence for this kind of game. I think that they are dangerous, and I think that they are going to win this game. It's true that Osasuna is a side that historically has put Real Madrid in some trouble in this ground. But Osasuna hasn't beaten Real Madrid here since 2011. When Jose Mourinho was Real Madrid's manager. So that's something that we have to take into consideration as well. Osasuna at home has been good, though. I mean, we have to say that. At home, they are the 5th best side in the league. They collected 22 points. And I think that they still believe that they can qualify for Europe. It's not going to be easy, but they are not far from the 6th place. All that said, Real Madrid for me is the favorite because they are in this moment of the season when they start speeding up. So I'm going to back Real Madrid. With a good bet, I would say. I mean, in terms of value, Asian handicap -1 for them, 2.0.
Let's see if they can keep the first spot after 2 winless games. In La Liga, if they don't win and Atlético de Madrid do the job, they are going to be top of the table. I guess they took the point at the derby as a very positive one, especially because they struggled in the second half and they only shot on target once in a very controversial penalty. By the way, and it's a very important month for Simeone's team, Álvaro, without Champions League. They are playing Celta, Valencia, Athletic, Getafe and Barcelona. So this is their schedule, and I guess Celta shouldn't be a huge obstacle. They were in bad form after they had a great comeback against Betis. Actually, they were getting really in trouble, and they are very poor away from home.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that it's difficult to believe that Celta will win here. Look, Celta at home are very good. If you take just their home form individually, they will be in Champions League spots. But away, they falter. They got only 5 points away. And yes, they got an important win last weekend, that's for sure, because they were coming at the back of 5 winless games. In that run, they lost against Rayo, they lost against Real Madrid, which is a little bit more understandable, even though they took Real Madrid to extra time in the cup. They lost to Athletic Bilbao, they drew with Alavés, and they lost to Valencia. That was the run of Celta before they welcomed Betis. And then they beat Betis with a really good comeback. Celta is going to be fine when it comes to relegation and all that, because they've got a lot of firepower. Even when they lose, they score goals. I mean, and the proof of that is that from the last 4 defeats they've got, they always score the goal. Even against the likes of Real Madrid and Santiago Bernabéu, they scored 2. And to beat Betis, they scored 3 goals in the space of 27 minutes. 24 minutes. So that tells you that they are a dangerous team. But on the other hand, they are playing against Atlético de Madrid. Atlético de Madrid is the best defense from the big 5 leagues so far. Atlético is purely focused in February in La Liga and a little bit in the Cup, and that's very important for them because they can rest players, they will be rested for this game. Atletico is unbeaten at home in the league, and they are the best team at home. In fact, they collected a very good tally of 30 points out of 36 playing at Civitas Metropolitano. So I'm going to back Atlético de Madrid. One of the bets that I ended up liking as the season went by was Atlético to win the second half because Simeone is making the difference with the substitutions in many of the games. Atlético to win the second half pays 181. Otherwise, and I prefer this one personally because I think that it's a little bit safer, Asian handicap -1 for Atlético 172.
And the last game on Saturday is a regional derby, Villarreal Valencia. Valencia seeing the light out of the tunnel after another win at home against Leganés after the humiliation in the Cup against Barcelona. So it's 3 consecutive home wins, but remember that they haven't won away this season, and Villarreal are really in form. Alvaro, 10 points out of the last 12. That's why the odds are very low to back Villarreal.
They are very low to back Villarreal. I think that there is a point in there, but let's don't forget that this is a derby at the end of the day, and sometimes these things matter a little bit too. It's been a while though that Valencia hasn't won a football game at Estadio de la Cerámica. That has to be said as well. The last time they won here was in the Europa League in 2019, but to find the next win of Valencia at Villarreal ground, you have to go back to 2017 when Valencia was coached, I believe, by Marcelino, and that Valencia was very good, and they won with goals from Carlos Soler and Santi Mina. It was a totally different time. Valencia right now is a very different team. But yeah, this is a local derby. I still believe derby. I believe that Villarreal is better, yes, but I prefer the value of the goals market for this game. Why? Because Villarreal has already scored 46 goals. They have never scored this many goals in their history in the top flight at this stage of the competition. They have scored even more goals than in 2004-2005. That team of Riquelme and Diego Forlán was a high scoring side, to the point that Diego Forlán ended up being La Liga's Pichichi, top scorer. But Villarreal is scoring even more without having a particularly great top scorer. But this is a joint effort. Many players can score, and Villarreal normally gives you either both teams to score or over 2.5 goals this season. This has been the norm. Valencia, I know that they lost heavily against Barcelona twice in the league and in the cup, but I have to say something about them. They were 7 points away from safety not so long ago, and now they are closer to safety because they have found some sort of home form under Corberán. I mean, they have won a couple of tricky games at home, and that has lifted them a little bit. With Corberán, the calendar has been very exigent, with 8 games in 35 days. From now on, the calendar is not going to be that demanding because they are out of the cup. Great to see 𝗂𝗏𝗏 back after suffering a terrible injury. But for this game, look, I think Villarreal is a slightly favorite, yes. But personally, I like the goals market because I think that goals will happen in this game. It's been happening when Villarreal plays football. So I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals, 172.
Espanyol Athletic is our next game. Very special game always for Chingurri Valverde coming back to Espanyol ground. Right now, Espanyol outside the relegation spots, but they lost to Real Sociedad. And remember that they beat Real Madrid at home. They are also picking some good home form. No defeats in the last 6 games in 𝗀𝐿𝐴. Athletic, Alvaro, as you said, even in the numbers, they are fighting for the title, only 6 points away from Real Madrid, but especially they are keeping the distance with Villarreal.
Yeah, they are. And that's for me, personally, the most important thing, and the target of Athletic Club Bilbao ultimately has to be qualifying for the Champions League. I mean, and if there is any chance to fight for La Liga in April, well, make sure that you stay competitive in the direct duels with Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atlético de Madrid. That's the target of Athletic Club Bilbao, a team that barely loses. I have to say this as well. This is very impressive. Even away from home, they have stayed quite solid. But for this game, this is what I see. I think that Athletic Club Bilbao has drawn a few times away from home, for example, against Alavés, against Betis, and I think this game is not going to be too dissimilar to those games. This is my personal view. I think that it's not going to be easy to beat Espanyol for Athletic Club Bilbao. Even having Ollán Sánchez, who is having a really good season, and he scored a hat-trick last weekend, 11 goals for him. But traveling to Espanyol ground is not necessarily easy. Espanyol has collected a very good amount of points at home, 21. They are on a good run when it comes to playing in their own ground. So for this game, I'm going to go for the goals market. I think that Athletic has been solid, and they haven't lost many games. The last defeat in the league is from the time when they lost against Girona in autumn. So I'm going to go for over 2 goals, because I think that that's quite an inviting market, because the bookies expect this game to be a low-scoring one. Over 2 goals, 173. I think that there is an opportunity here to make some money.
Valladolid Sevilla is the next one. It's always good to back the rival of Valladolid, as we do in the Premier League with Southampton, or in the Serie A with Monza. Valladolid going to Segunda División, as we are saying here, for long time now. 8 points away from Leganés and 4 consecutive defeats. Sevilla is also tricky to back, to be honest, although, Alvaro, with odds 2.0, we should take them, since they are not having a great season. It's only 1 win in the last 6 games, and they are coming from a heavy defeat against Barca.
Yeah, heavy defeat against Barcelona. There's very little about Sevilla that makes me think that they are going to, climb on the table very quickly. Then last week I saw something that is the textbook event that happens in a crisis, which is like a manager like García Pimienta complaining about not having had enough investment in the winter market. This is the classic thing that happens to Sevilla, happens to Valencia, and at some point the manager and the board, they are in bad terms, and the manager leaves. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's the beginning of this kind of narrative. I think that when it comes to Sevilla, the team is not particularly great, but they have enough to beat Valladolid, that's for sure. Rubén Vargas has been a decent addition, the player coming from Germany, from Augsburg, I believe. He scored against Barcelona. I always thought that he was a decent, all-right player. And him playing all together with 𝗀𝗵𝗍𝗀, look, they are 2 good wingers. Then Saúl, the other day against Barcelona, I saw him just giving an assist in one of the goals of Sevilla, so that's good, obviously. But, nothing at Sevilla makes me think that they are going to be very soon, or within the next months, one of the teams that will for sure qualify among the top 6. I don't think so. But anyway, their home form may help them, because I think that at home they haven't been terrible this season. The thing is that, despite having said all this about Sevilla, Valladolid is awful, and Valladolid has a minus 33 as a goal difference, and this should be it. Minus 33 as a goal difference. They don't score goals, they concede a lot, and they are not good at home, they are terrible away, so I'm going to back Sevilla. Not with a win, because I'm still a little bit reluctant to back Sevilla fully away from home, to be honest with you. I'm going to back them with an ace handicap minus 0.25, meaning that if they draw, you suffer only half a lose, and if they win, you win. That pays 168. Ace and handicap minus 0.25 for Sevilla.
Good one, also because they are so unreliable, as we said at the beginning. Also, these teams are in bad form. Mallorca, Unión Deportiva, Las Palmas, the island clash in La Liga. Mallorca drew with Osasuna, but they scored their first goal in 2025. Imagine if they are in a bad run. Las Palmas also back in the relegation battle. Alvaro is 1 point in the last 5 games.
Yeah, and for Las Palmas, it's strange, because they are in the relegation battle despite having 2 scorers who are doing the job. Normally these teams, when they have 1 or 2 good scorers, they are safe. They are safe. I remember, though, the case of Levante 2.5-3 seasons ago already. They went down scoring quite a decent amount of goals too. But normally these teams, when they've got a scorer or 2, they are fine. It's not happening to Las Palmas right now. Las Palmas, they are going through the worst run in La Liga from all the teams. If you just check the last 5 games, they haven't collected any win. But all that said, I mean, they've got 2 strikers who have scored 14 goals between them both. I'm talking about Fabio Silva and Sandro. And that, at some point, has to make a difference between Las Palmas and Leganés, Valladolid, Alavés, and all these teams that are in the mix for relegation. But, you know, the run is not good, and they're playing against Mallorca. I think Mallorca is going to win this one, personally. Mallorca to win 180 is going to be my pick. Mallorca this season has underachieved. Yes, that's true. Because they have dropped points in stoppage time 3 times this season. I think that they should have more points, but they haven't been able to manage the last minutes of the games. But in this game, I think that Mallorca is the favorite because they are playing at home, because they need the win, because finally they are scoring goals again, and because Las Palmas hasn't been too reliable away from home. So I'm going to go for Mallorca to win 180.
Next game is Betis Real Sociedad. Both are playing in Europe. Betis Conference League against Ghent. Real Sociedad in the Europa League against Midtjylland, and both teams are very difficult to trust. Alvaro, Betis, in my opinion, they are doing a bad season despite the good names they have in the squad, including Anthony, who scored a good goal in Vigo. And also Real Sociedad with their eyes in the knockout competitions, although they beat Espanyol recently in La Liga.
Yeah, but both are difficult to read, that's for sure. Maybe the best thing that Real Sociedad has right now is the defense. The defense is quite all right. I mean, they have conceded only 20 goals in 23 games. And when it comes to Betis, it's difficult to flag what's the best thing they've got. Anthony, of course, has been a refreshing novelty in winter. Anthony has played 2 games in La Liga. He already collected 2 MVP awards. So the talent is there, the output is there, definitely. But this game is not particularly easy to read. I guess that the atmosphere is going to be fine at the Betis ground. Real Sociedad is the kind of team that defensively they are not going to lose the composure. Then Betis has some problems to score goals as well. I mean, their scoring numbers are not particularly great. 27 goals for Betis, 20 goals for Real Sociedad this season. That's why the bookies think that this is going to be a low-scoring affair. And I'm going to go against the title a little bit, because I think that chasing the odds, plain and simply, if you go for over 1.75 goals, you can get a decent amount of money. It pays 165. I'm going to go for that one because I think that this game, for example, can follow the same trajectory as Betis Athletic Bilbao, 1-1 a couple of weeks ago. Why not to think that this can happen? I think that, 2 goals can happen. This is not going to be a scoring spree, but 2 goals can happen, and since the value will be very good, I'm going to go for that. Over 1.75 goals with a pinch of salt, 165.
And the last game is Barcelona Rayo Vallecano. Strange schedule for Barcelona, playing on Monday, but they are in great form. It looks like we are seeing the Barcelona of September or October. Thrashing Sevilla, all the players are in peak form. Great goal scored by Rafinha, but also Pedri is playing great, so they look unstoppable. Alvaro, and as Atlético Madrid, they have now no Champions League, so they can focus in La Liga. Be careful with Rayo Vallecano because they have a great chance this season to qualify for Europe. They are 6th, 4 wins and 1 draw in the last 5 La Liga games, and with Sevilla, for instance, disconnected from the European fight, from like Betis, also far away, and even Real Sociedad thinking in the knockout competitions, they might have a chance to fight for Europe, Alvaro.
Yeah, well, they had 3 days off after beating Valladolid. It was a Friday, and Íñigo Pérez was nice enough to his players after beating Valladolid. And the players, for sure, managed to rest, to celebrate the fact that they are doing very well this season. Rayo in 2025 has been terrific. No team got more points from the last 5 games in La Liga than Rayo Vallecano, 13 out of 15. And Rayo has been 2 months unbeaten in the league. And also they've got a positive goal difference. Only only 7 teams in La Liga have a positive goal difference, and Rayo is one of them. Everything is quite good. Even Álvaro García this week signed a contract extension. He's 4 goals away from becoming Rayo's all-time top scorer in the top flight. So he's an important player for Rayo Vallecano too. Strangely, RDT, Raúl de Tomás, is training again, but I don't think that he will make any difference anymore for Rayo Vallecano ever again. But anyway, everything I said about Rayo Vallecano has been very complimentary because they deserve it. But they are playing against Barcelona. It's still for me to be seen how Barcelona responds on a Monday night, okay? Because I think that the atmosphere is going to be quite cold. Not the temperature necessarily, but the atmosphere. On a Monday, they are not playing at the Spotify Camp Nou. Last week, by the way, I was next to a Spotify Camp Nou, and it looks to me like it needs a lot of time still. So I don't think that this season they will play at the Spotify Camp Nou. No way, Barcelona. But for this game, I'm going to take into consideration not only Rayo's form, but Barcelona's form. Barcelona has been quite formidable lately. They have scored 64 goals in La Liga this season. The average is really, 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 really good. It's almost an average of 3 goals per game. And Rayo Vallecano, on the other hand, haven't beaten any team in the top 6. So all the points they got, or most of the points, have been against teams, under them on the table. So as good as Rayo Vallecano is, I think that Barcelona is the clear favorite here. And I believe that we have to back Barcelona given their current form. So I'm going to back them with the following. Asian handicap minus 1.75 for Barcelona in this game, 173. I don't forget that they are scoring a lot of goals.
Well, Barcelona now again in the title fight and again in one of the best moments of the season. As always, guys, feel free to post your tips in Oddspedia and you will have the chance also to win some cash prizes thanks to our tipster competition. So you can create, remember, your own one thanks to Rivals or join an existing one as well in Rivals. Álvaro, let's finish the video as always. Safe bet.
Atlético de Madrid to win, 144.
ACCA?
Asian handicap minus 1 for Atlético. Asian handicap minus 2 for Barcelona. Altogether 338.
Well, very interesting season in La Liga with a 3-horse race for the title. Thanks, Álvaro. Bye-bye.